Okay, it's Sunday, which means against my better judgment, it's time to go to Reddit and see what we can find in this hive of scum and villainy. So I've been to the Overwatch University subreddit ahead of time and just scraped all the questions off the first couple of pages, and we're going to answer them now while some footage of Overwatch plays in the background. Usually we do Dragon Ball Fighters, but my controller, I don't have one right now. So it's going to have to be Overwatch, because I just haven't been able to play it. So first question is, how to effectively shot call as support? This person was specifically afraid of, well, I mean, first off, they panic, so they fail to get things out in time because they stumble over their worlds. And secondarily, they were afraid of basically being wrong in regards to shot calling somebody's ultimate. With the panicking aspect, I mean, the best way to get over that is unfortunately just do it more, and eventually it won't be scary anymore, you know? It's one of those things where you're gonna have to kind of just build up a resistance to it, unfortunately, you know? And as far as being afraid of fucking it up goes, you're gonna fuck it up, I'm sorry to tell you this. Like, inevitably, you're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna say that somebody's looking for their ultimate, and that dude's gonna have, like, 5% ult charge at that moment in time. Or you're gonna say somebody doesn't have their ultimate and the dude's at full percent charge. It is an inevitability of life, unfortunately. But you know, the more times you fuck it up, as long as you learn something from it, you'll be better the next time you do it. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, basically what I'm saying is, oh god, coach gun right into the ceiling, great job, self. So unfortunately, those two aspects basically, so just do it more, you'll get better at it. As for, like, what you want to shot call as a support, I mean, just try and keep it simple, you know, like, unless you're playing in an organized setting, you're not gonna need to communicate anything too extreme, right? Like, just calling out, Reinhardt's looking to use his ult is, like, gonna be fine. Or, like, saying something like, alright, they use their ultimates, everybody, or we losing a fight, they used ults, save their ults for the next push, you know, stuff like that. Just try and keep it simple. There's no point organizing any grand plays. The most organization that you should do if you're playing with, like, random people is just, like, saying to combo ultimates between, like, two specific people. That should be, like, as extreme as it gets. Otherwise, dog, it's, like, not worth it. It's gonna be too much effort with random people. If you're in a more organized setting, you can do more specific stuff, but you don't know these people, they don't know you. Just keep it general, calling ults, calling flanks if somebody is flanking on you, you know, that's a big one. Just try and keep it, like, short and to the point as well, because usually what people do when they're trying to shot call is they'll massively overcomplicate the situation, which is extremely unnecessary. Just try and keep it short and brief, like Tracer's flanking, you know, or Genji's on Ana, you know. And ideally, you know, that should be enough for people, but if you're calling out that somebody is getting dove or flanked and nobody is doing anything, this is called the bystander effect. Here's what you do to combat the bystander effect, right? And this is what you do in real life. If you're having, like, an emergency situation, you don't go, somebody call an ambulance. You point at somebody in the crowd and go, call an ambulance. Because if you just say, somebody call an ambulance, the general crowd's like, someone will do it. But if you point at someone, you've put it on them. You do the same thing in Overwatch. If nobody's helping with the situation, you go, Genji's on Ana, McCree, help, right? You specifically point at someone and go, fucking help. And hopefully they actually help, which they still might not, because, well, that's just how people are, unfortunately. So there you go. That's, like, about the most advice I've got for you on that one. So let me just write this down. Usually I would use the audio from the game to know what to do, but Overwatch just keeps playing music or sound while you're all tapped out, so it's more inconvenient. Next up is, best way to get heals as a typically off-angle DPS. So basically, we're talking about, hold on, yeah, there we go. So basically, we're talking about people like Widow, Ashe, Hanzo, you know, people that are going to be, like, up and away from the team frequently. I mean, you know, don't break line of sight unless you absolutely have to. If you take damage and now require healing, go to the healer. Don't just stand behind 3 walls spamming I need healing. Go somewhere where the healer has line of sight to you, then push I need healing. And don't spam it. Then people immediately shut you off, right? Like, the more you spam the I need healing button, the less likely people are to listen to you. So, don't do that. Just push it like once or twice, and then stop. And as long as you're in line of sight, like, and this healer isn't, like, completely oblivious to the world around them, they'll heal you. They'll come and heal you. And if you're near a health kit, just go get the health kit, right? Like, sometimes you're going to be closer to a health kit than the healer, so just go get the health kit. Even if it's a small one and you're going to be, like, 20 health off full health, it's good enough, dog. Like, if you're playing one of these heroes that's, like, a sniper, you're still far enough away, you're probably not gonna get, like, randomly one shot from somebody like a McCree being close to you, right? Unless something real bad went wrong. So go get the health kit, if like, that's closer to the healer. But, like, that's basically it, dude. Like, go get in line of sight and push I need healing. Don't spam it. The more you spam it, the less likely the healer is to heal you. I'd know, the more people spam I need healing, the less I listen to them. So there you go. So next up is, why are gold/silver players so afraid to be aggressive? So the problem, typically, I find with lower SRs is just that they don't know when to go, basically. This is the issue. They don't know what they should be, because there's always a moment when, especially if you're a tank, right? There's always a moment where you're playing passively, but you now have to flip the switch in your mind and play aggressively, right? There's always a go moment, which is something like in the kill feed you saw 2 people died out of nowhere. You're like, I go now. People in silver and gold, they don't know that. They don't always see it. They don't know that they should go. In general, someone in the thread said this, so I'm, like, kind of stealing it, but I don't remember their username, so I can't give proper credit. But there was someone in the thread that said this. They were like, most people are terrified of overextending, even though they don't really know what overextending means, right? Which usually equates to just standing in the choke point on Hanamura, accomplishing nothing, and just watching your Reinhardt shuffle backwards and forwards in the doorway, never actually going through it. You know, like, people don't know when to go. That's the problem. So they just default to this passive mode. The DPS gets a pick, but the tank is not paying attention. Tank is a pussy and just doesn't go at that moment, even though he should be going at that moment. If you got a numbers advantage, that's like when you want to start holding mouse or W and mouse 1, basically. That's when you start going. But you know, the people out there, they don't always know. They're not always paying attention. No, don't do general. Let's skip forward a little bit so we don't, like, sit here in awkward silence the whole time. I was on me. Why am I trying to fucking tab through again? Okay, so, yeah, like, that's the problem with people, is just that they don't know when to go. If you are up like, any amount of people, but, like, sometimes 1 is not necessarily enough, depending on the situation. But if you're up 2 people, that's when you fucking go. If they lose their main tank, you go. If they lose their main healer, you go. If they lose both their healers, you definitely fucking go. But not everyone knows this. So, you know, this is, you know, something that it's important to bear in mind in life, generally speaking, but, you know, Overwatch as well, is what is obvious to you is not always obvious to everyone else. And this is, hard to bear in mind sometimes, especially when you're frustrated with people. I remember I worked with someone once who did interviews for the new hires, and when he'd always ask them a question like, so what did you get from this video that I just showed you or whatever, and if the person responded with, well, just do common sense stuff, basically, he would reply, what's common sense? I don't understand. And then the person would immediately be like, you know, you gotta remember that just because you know that you should be playing aggressively now, they don't always know that. So, you know, going back to the earlier question about shot calling, if you spot an opportunity to play aggressively suddenly because you're at a numbers disadvantage or a heavy ult advantage or any combination thereof, say to go, right? Tell them we've got the advantage, let's go, right? Like, just because you know doesn't mean they know. And if you do know and they don't know, try playing tank. You know, just go out there, play tanks, you know. See if you do know quite as firmly as you thought you did, because what I find is usually the case is that the people who are saying that the tank is a pussy are usually not people that play tank. And they think tank equates to playing Reinhardt, hold mouse, 2, hold W, win game. Tragically, it's a bit more complicated than that. What usually happens is the Reinhardt will amble in front of the doorway a lot, waste a bunch of their shield because they weren't blocking anybody or anything, because our team was regrouping at that point in time, so they were just stood in the doorway letting their shield take damage. And now that they have the advantage to go in, they don't have the resources to go in. So, you know, next time you're thinking that you only play with tanks that are pussies and they need to get good, hey, maybe go see if you actually know how to play tank first. Maybe it's not as easy as you think it is. Maybe it's not just, I go now. Unga bunga. Maybe there's a little bit more to it than that. Anyway, so that's basically why, is they don't know when to go. There you go. So next up is it a bad idea to focus on enabling DPS as Mercy? Now, this person they were a mid-gold player, and the reason they posted this question specifically was because they were off, their DPS were playing very aggressively, so they were off boosting the DPS, healing the DPS as much as they could, you know, so they were very far up, basically, with them. And what happened was the Baptiste they were playing with spammed I need healing a bunch of times, then left the game, and then after the game ended, one of the tanks said that they needed to learn how to heal. So they went to Reddit, obviously. This is the logical response after that. And, like, you don't want to support the DPS to the detriment of all other things. So if the Baptiste was dying a bunch of times because he was hanging around at low health and you didn't heal him, you know, that's partly his fault for sticking around at low health instead of going to find some way to heal, or like using regenerative burst if he had it, you know. Because I find frequently people like Anna, Baptiste, Moira will stand there spamming I need healing, expecting the other healer to come and heal them when they could easily heal themselves by just using the ability, and then there would be no reason to be mad about this because they would be healed and they wouldn't have died, but you know how people are. Anyway, so like, you don't want to do it to the detriment of other people still, but like, the whole point of Mercy to me is damage boost, okay? Like, I don't see any value in picking Mercy if you aren't trying to leverage damage boost as much as possible, because that's the utility that Mercy brings aside from res, right? Like, and res is not something you always get to use depending on what happened, so as far as I'm concerned, you should be trying to enable the DPS as much as possible as Mercy, but again, you're still not doing it to the detriment of your other teammates. If you're up with the Pharah in the sky, you know, you're still keeping an eye on all the peasants below you in case they need you to come down and grace them with your divine touch, as disgusting as it is to get your filthy hands on them. Sometimes it has to be done, sadly, you know, and you know, if you are up with the Pharah, by the way, and you've been, like, pocketing the Pharah pretty heavily, maybe tell the Pharah if you're gonna go off suddenly to heal them, because usually the Pharah is not paying attention to what you're doing as Mercy, so they'll just, like, keep going, even though you left, and then they'll die, and they'll blame you. Such is life. So, no, like, that's the whole point of Mercy, to me, is enabling the DPS. So, like, go to fucking town, dude. If you're not damage boosting as much as possible, what are you picking Mercy for, right? You don't pick Mercy for her healing output. If you were picking someone because of raw healing output, you'd pick Moira, wouldn't you? So, you gotta try and leverage the damage boost as much as you can, which means enabling DPS, doesn't it? So there you go. But again, you're not doing it to the detriment of the rest of your team. So we'll move on from that one before I beat that drum to death 1,000 times over. So next up is... do you always have to pick Mercy if there's a Pharah on your team, or are you better sticking with someone you're good with? So, yes, always pick someone you're good with. All other aspects of the game are irrelevant. Doesn't matter if it's a better pick for your team or against the other team. If you're worse at that hero, don't pick it. Skill with hero greater than all other aspects of the game. Don't worry about anything other than do you know how to play the hero. However, assuming you know how to play the both healers, like whatever healer you're playing at the time, and Mercy, both of them to like a comfortable degree, you are strongly encouraged to pick Mercy with the Pharah. Because if you don't, Pharah's like half a hero, to be real with you, dude. Like, Pharah without Mercy is a tremendously tragic experience. So you are strongly incentivized to pick Mercy with Pharah, but you don't have to. It's most important that there is somebody on your team that can heal the Pharah. If your healer combo is Lucio Moira, or like Baptiste Moira, Baptiste Lucio, you know, none of these combos of healers are going to be able to heal the Pharah, right? Unless you're a fucking god with Baptiste. Maybe then you could, but you probably can't. So, you are incentivized to pick just someone that can heal the Pharah, if the Pharah's not going to switch. Be that Mercy, Zenyatta, Ana, you know, any of those people can heal Pharah, so it doesn't really matter necessarily which one. So long as it fills within your role. Like, if the other healer is Lucio, do not change to Zenyatta to support the Pharah. Change to Ana, because she's still the main healer as well, right? But she can heal the Pharah. That kind of stuff. If you're playing the off healer and the other healer's Moira, then you can go to like Zen, and that's fine because you've got the main healer still, right? But you know, that's the important aspect, is just that there is someone on your team that can heal the Pharah. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Mercy, but it is encouraged to pick Mercy. It's okay, we'll have Echo as well soon, so there'll be even more reasons to pick Mercy when there's a Pharah on your team, because like in all likelihood you'll have an Echo as well. So there you go, because I personally am expecting Echo to be a DPS. Some people are saying healer. I don't think so. I think that the Overwatch team probably gets pretty hard thinking about a double flying DPS comp with a Mercy. So anyway, you're encouraged to pick Mercy, but you don't necessarily have to. Also, if you're playing Pharah, think about who your healers are before you pick Pharah. If your healers are Lucio Moira, maybe reconsider picking Pharah, because neither of those people can heal you. So you're going to have to spend a lot of time like going to the ground to get healed by them, or playing with health kits. So that's not impossible to do, but it is extremely inconvenient, and there's probably just someone better you could pick by that point. So, you know, there you go. Next up is, why the hell does no one know what counterpicking is? Now, I'm actually going to pause this video, because I'm going to read to you an entire exchange from inside this thread, because it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Also, this person, like, gave, like, the best response possible, but then, the, OP got, a little upset, and he had a post, and he responded to that post, and it got minus 23 points, so, you know, it was a good one if Reddit didn't like it. So, first off, Blazguy responded with, they probably know intellectually, but emotionally they don't care. A big part of the frustration in Overwatch is playing with the assumption that your match-made teammates have the same goals as you. They probably do not. Maybe they are practicing their McCree, or maybe they just really like playing as Zenyatta. Maybe they've played with too many DPS who can't aim and are taking damage into their own hands. OP responds, you do realize this game has quick play, right? That's where you practice, not comp. And if you can't aim, then play frickin' Sim or Torb. I'm sure he would have been perfectly fine with that picking Torb. Torb can't get counterpicked after all. There's no reason to be throwing that many games just because you don't know enough heroes. Beepboop._Overwatch responds with, and it's not throwing if they're trying to win, even though they're bad. OP responds, okay, so I'm high silver. I know people's mechanics are bad, so I don't care about that, but counterpicking and hero switching is a mechanic of the game, and if you aren't properly using the mechanics of the game to try and win, even though it's there for you and very easy to use, that is throwing. Again, what does very easy mean? You know, what's common sense, exactly? Anyway, Nubilator7 replied, then everybody in silver is the thrower. You aren't ghost dashing? Thrower. You missed a shot on Widow? Thrower. What constitutes very easy? A top 500 player might think a mechanic is very easy in comparison to a silver. Also, counterpicking is not a part of mechanical skill. It's part of game sense. So I enjoyed that exchange a lot, so I just wanted to share it with you. There you go. But also, like, in all seriousness, that guy, like, answered the question as well as I ever could, basically. You know, people don't care about counterpicking always, do they? And I mean, like, again, going back to what we said earlier, if it's the only, if, like, player's skill with hero greater than all other aspects of the game, okay, it might be a better counterpick. You don't know how to play that counterpick, don't fucking do it, dog. Just pick the hero you know how to play, right? Same deal. I know I don't care about counterpicking a lot of the time, to be honest with you. And I know that's bad to be that way, but, like, I don't care, dude. Like, I've played a lot of Ashe, because I'm trying to get good at Ashe, right? That's why with this game here, this is me playing, by the way, I never really said, this is me playing. I'm trying to get better at Ashe. DPS has always been my weakest role, so I'm trying to play Ashe. I've been playing a lot of Ashe, even though I know there's heroes I could be playing that are better than Ashe for the situation, but I'm practicing Ashe. There you go. And no, I'm not going to go to Quick Play to practice the Ashe, because guess what? I would like to actually, like, practice Ashe, which kind of means sooner or later, I'm going to have to play Ashe and, like, climb with Ashe, aren't I? If someone's playing to practice a hero, dude, then, like, you're going to see them once, and then they're gone. You don't have to play with that person that's practicing that hero anymore. If they are as bad as you think they are, if they're a thrower like you think they are, they're going to fall, and you're never going to see them again, because you, Galaxy Brain Genius, who understands counterpicking, will never see them again, because they're practicing the hero and therefore thrower, will you? Problem solved. Something very ominous was happening with the silhouettes right there. I was not looking at the monitor while that was happening, so I didn't see them getting into position. Oh fuck, there they are. Oh shit, I'm dead. Okay, change to Sombra. Anyway, so, you know, that's basically the answer to that question. I haven't got anything else to add to it. So, there you go. Great job. Very funny exchange. 10-10. So, next up, and this is the last question for this week, is what's the point of getting damage boosted as Widow? And this was coming specifically from a Widowmaker player who, basically said, well, I always fully charge anyway. So what's the point of being damage boosted? They die regardless, wouldn't they? Well, yes. Assuming you fully charge every shot and get a headshot every time, then the damage boost is completely redundant because you killed them every time. However, you do not always have time to fully charge it. You are not really encouraged to fully charge your shot every time. If you watch a really high-level Widowmaker player, they aren't really, like, sitting there fully charging all of their shots, are they? And, you know, you don't always score the headshot, do you? You know, this is the thing, and, you know, I see a lot of support players ask this, like, why am I damage boosting the Widowmaker when she's gonna one-shot everybody anyway? You need to charge less if you're damage boosted to get the headshot kill, right? So, you know, you don't need to fully charge it. You can get away with having less charge if you're damage boosted. Simultaneously, you don't always get the headshot. Sometimes you get a body shot, and you didn't kill them by like 20 damage, which the damage boost would have covered. So sometimes, you know, you don't have time to fully charge the shot, so the damage boost means that you get the headshot kill regardless, even with the less charge. And if you miss and get the body shot, well, sometimes they'll still die regardless, because you were being damage boosted at the time. So even though you missed, hey, the extra damage still killed them. So that's cool, isn't it? So, like, that's the thing, is it's like, yes, in an ideal world scenario, as you can see, these Ash games went really well. In an ideal world scenario, but we, you know, sadly, we do not always live in an ideal world, do we? So that's why the damage boost is helpful. It just makes it easier. There's more situations in which you will get the kill that you wouldn't have got the kill otherwise. I'm going to stop this video right now, actually. You already knew how it ended, pretty sadly. And I've run out of things to say now, because that was basically my full answer to that question. I'm not going to do that thing I do, usually, where I start a game as I'm about to finish talking. Look at that, what tremendous self-control I had. Instead, we'll watch Ash's highlight intro a bunch of times. Because I love this highlight intro, just because the look on Ash's face at the end really makes it for me, dude. She's like, Bob, what the fuck? So yeah, that's basically the answer. It can't hurt, can it? It can't hurt to damage boost the Widowmaker. So there you go. So thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I've started streaming on Twitch Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 PM EST till midnight EST. There's a link to the channel in the description. And if you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future. And I hope you found the video helpful.